HandMorph, a passive exoskeleton that miniaturizes grasp. Our passive hand exoskeleton miniaturizes a user's hand into that of a smaller person. Participants perceived objects to be larger when using HandMorph, and gained confidence in their toy design for children with HandMorph. These allow product designers to evaluate the usability of products with their own hands.